Good morning, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again for another market watch investment video here. Today I'm going to be discussing another Generation 1 core set, Pharaonic Guardian. A lot of good stuff in this, so we're just going to get right into it. I already dipped into Ring of Destruction. The first editions for the original print secret rares are about $10, which I think is pretty expensive. Not really worth it in my opinion. There's some healthy alternatives, and with the errata, it kind of watered it down a whole lot, but if it goes down, if you guys maybe get like for 5 or so, I think that'd be a nice pickup if that ever happens. Again, just a reminder, of course, with all my market watch videos, I'm going to be looking at near mint and lightly played conditions, and usually, actually pretty much always, depending on the set, first editions. Moving on to Lava Golem first edition, this is going for a pretty fine price. There's only 3 pages left, and the first edition we don't see until the 3rd page, which is about $12 plus. So this is slowly getting dried out on the market and is going up in price. So I know I have multiple first editions. If you guys have multiple first editions, you could probably sell them for a good price, but I would definitely hold at least a playset of first edition secrets because it is a really awesome card to have. Hellblamer, this isn't a playable card, it just has really badass artwork. I really love the artwork in this. It also is the cover card for the booster pack for Pharaonic Guardian. And there is one first edition here for $2. This is really the only one that I saw worth it. It's really cheap, and for collector's value and just having really awesome artwork, I would definitely probably pick that up. It's a first edition for $2. But then as you move on to the pages, I think it goes up to like $5–6 range for the first editions, which is definitely not worth it in my opinion. Donzalug is a pretty awesome card too. I really like kind of messing around with like hand destruction dot decks, but it's going for like $5 plus for the first editions, which is too expensive. I wouldn't pay like more than $3 for a first edition one of those. Dark Room of Nightmare, I covered this a little bit before on one of my earlier videos. A really awesome card, especially when used in tricksters. I know it's found some new popularity in tricksters. The first edition original print super rares are $2, and there's quite a few on the market here. I think that is a really great pickup. Trap Dust Shoot, really quick, I just wanted to review, not so much worried about this common here in Pharaonic Guardian, but the super rares from Champion Pack 5, this is really on the table now. Super expensive. If you have your super rares, look at this price of 52 market price, and it's going around $90 now. Really killer price point. Does look really amazing and super rare, but honestly, if I had this card, I would sell it. I would sell it quick. It's currently banned. I'm an evident believer that everything comes off the ban list, regardless if it gets ratted or not. But this is just a killer price point, so I would sell this if you have the super rare. I would also sell the DTs if you have the DTs. Look at the market price of about $3.5, $3.31, and it's going around $14 for the DTs. So these are really the only rarities of high interest. Of course, you could try to, if you want to get the cards to have it, there's a first edition original print commons for around $2 or so. But just wanted to showcase that really quick. Book of Life, this is really great. I'm kind of torn because I'm pretty sure that there's a secret rare from one of the legendary collections. I'm sorry, it's actually an ultra rare. So there's this ultra rare from Legendary Collection 4. And I apologize, I'm going to be jumping and flipping back and forth a lot. A lot of these cards are like, first generation, so they're super ancient. And a lot of them were reprinted in nicer, higher rarities in the Legendary Collection 3 and Legendary Collection 4, which are phenomenal sets. I pretty much say this in every single video. Please check those sets out. There's a lot of awesome staple cards, high rarity, really cheap, and just an amazing time all around. Honestly, I like the super rare first. Normally, of course, I like the Legendary Collection reprints, but I think this card just looks really good in super rare, and this is just one of those odd cards that I just would go for the original print super rare because it looks really great, and it has the magic card here instead of spell card because it is, first generation core sets before they changed the names, which is super nostalgic and awesome. And it's less than $2 for first edition original print supers, and there's plenty in the market here. So I would definitely check that out. Healthy alternative, Monster Reborn for zombies, super awesome. Barrel Behind the Door, I was going to kind of cover this. There's plenty in the market for first edition really cheap, like well under the dollar, or about the dollar range. But the more I thought about it, this and there's other called Board of Eraser or whatever, and it basically kind of does the same thing, except this one just negates the effect damage, and then the Board Eraser card basically negates the damage and then makes your opponent pitch a card. They're both counter traps, so that's pretty awesome. And they both have really cool artwork. I really do like the artworks a lot, so it's kind of an interesting. But honestly, the more I thought about it, I would just rather roll the Kree. I pretty much always side roll the Korea. It's one of my go-to play cards for a side deck for pretty much everything that I build. And the only thing I could really think of for these kind of cards would be chain burn decks or burn kind of decks, which use a lot of heavy traps. But ultimately, Royal Decree, depending what you're playing, would be a healthy alternative. But you guys can check those out if you want. Next card here, Guardian Sphinx. Not so much the ultra rare. I mean, maybe an ultra rare first edition, just because, you know, original print collectors. There's first edition light plates for about 2.5 here. There's 2 for that seller. But I want to talk more specifically about the secret rares from the Masters collections. This is probably goes hand in hand with Legendary Collections 3 and 4 that I always talk about, that I'm a really big fan of. This is an amazing set. BLS came out of this. Thousand Eyed Restrict. A lot of awesome cards in this, but going right into this, it's about $2 for this card. And I think this is a really awesome card. You do have a tribute for it. Maybe there's another way you can special summon it. I'm sure there is. Special summoning is a crazy mechanic nowadays in the game. But it's about $2 across the board. Only 2 pages left, and it looks really, really awesome. This old school secret rare is really deep, really layered. It looks really, really beautiful. So that is a food for thought. Moving on here to Ordeal of a Travel. This is one of my all-time favorite common cards. This and Wabaku are definitely on my top list for common cards that need higher rarity reprints. I think this would look amazing in Secret Rare. Super biased for Secret Rare. I pretty much want cards that we don't have hollows to get Secret Rare. Secret Rare is my favorite rarity. There's 2 here, first editions for about $1, so it's kind of expensive for a common, but for what it is, it's kind of a luck card. And I don't really like luck dot cards, but this is just really awesome artwork, really old school, and it's like a continuous pulse. If you can pop it off, you know, if you have a monster trap and a magic in your hand, you can keep on, and it's not a hard once per turn, you can basically compulse your opponent's whole field, which is pretty awesome. Moving on here to Book of Moon, more specifically the Legendary Collection 3 and 4. You notice Legendary Collections 3 and 4 both had a lot of multiple same rarity reprints. I don't really know why they did that, but I'm kind of happy they did because it gives more availability on the market. Of course, you have these ridiculously high ones from the tournament packs or, you know, OTS packs, but then the dual terminal one is actually fetching for a pretty penny here too. But the secret rares from Legendary Collection 3 and 4 are about $2, as you can see here, for the first editions. And the secret rarity looks really amazing in this set. I've already kind of just talked my tongue off about this set. You guys just need to check it out. And this is still an awesome card. I think no one really plays this card anymore, but it's still a really powerful card. Definitely one of the strongest quick play Magic cards for sure. Necro Valley, I talked about this in some of my other videos. I'm a really huge fan of Necro Valley, especially with the power boost with the new errata. This is really awesome. The first edition original print super rares is one of my all-time favorites for sure, and it's like under $1 here. We can move into the second page, and there's just quite a few add-ons here. This person has 5. First edition only played for 99 cents, so quite a few on the market, all within the $1 range. Really amazing, powerful card, even a great side deck card. You can side deck this card against Salaman Greats, or just there's a lot of decks, you know, that need a special summon from the graveyard, and this really just screws them up really, really bad. I know when people play this against me, against my zombie decks, it really screws me up. So it's just an awesome, healthy alternative for a side as well. The Dual Saga looks really awesome, really nice rarity. It's about $3 for the Dual Saga. That would be, like, I guess, my alternative choice. Of course, the Ultimate is super nice, but it's really expensive, so we don't really worry about that. There was an Ultra Rare from Legendary Collection 3 that looks pretty cool. But honestly, my favorite, again, is just one of those weird things where I like the original print first edition, which would be the Necro Valley Pharaonic Guardian one, which is about $1. So that's a pretty good steal. Moving on here to Spirit Reaper. More specifically, the Ultra Rares, again, from Legendary Collection 3. There's a Super Rare, which is super entertainable. A lot of these cards have these old school champion packs, tournament pack stuff, reprints that are really collector's cards, expensive. But why not just, you know, spend a half $1 and get a first edition Ultra Rare from Legendary Collections 4. Really awesome card. Again, it's kind of like Don Zalug, has that effect where you can start popping cards out of your opponent's hand and doesn't get destroyed by battle, and it's a zombie and it's a dark. So Allure, a darkness target, and a floater, and just super awesome artwork. One of my all-time favorite zombie cards for sure. So that is a choice there. Coffin Seller, I didn't know this until today. I was kind of poking around looking at the different versions of this. There is an actual rare foil rarity. There's a super rare from Dark Revelations Volume 1, and it's really cheap too. It is 2 pages, and they're all pretty much $1, a little bit over $1 plus. It's pretty cool because it's a Dark Revelations Volume 1. It's kind of a hard set to come by, or pretty hard to come by, and a lot of people really favor this for collection value. Some even over the original prints. Obviously this card, because this card came out super rare in its reprint, and it was rare, I believe, in Pharaonic Guardian. So really cheap for what it is. Just you smash 300 points direct damage every time one of your opponent's monster cards goes to the graveyard. So this could be for like a Synchro, an XYZ detach, a Link summon, anything like that. And it's continuous, so it's just another burn card alternative. Really old school. It has really killer artwork. And mostly I didn't really think it was that big of a deal until I figured out that it had an actual super rare hollow foil, which is pretty cool. I'm sure it looks very beautiful. So that is something for you guys to think about. Nightmare Horse is pretty cool. Pretty sure that there's just common versions of this. This is pretty cool just because it's a dark Hitsasami. It's a really low level and it can attack directly, but I couldn't really think of anything to really use this with, so I didn't really want to talk too much about it, but I just wanted to showcase it a little bit because I thought it had really awesome artwork, and it was a zombie, and I just think it just, I love zombie stuff. Reckless Greed, there was a super rare reprint from, I want to say, the Legendary Collection's Yugioh's World was the one that had the super rare. Yeah, right here. This is a really great card. I think people kind of forget about this card. I mostly know this card because I'm a really big Dark World player, and Dark Worlds used to and still kind of do mess around with this card. It's a really, really great draw power, especially if you have more than one set and you activate them together. But it's kind of getting up there in price. It's about $2+ for single copies here for the first editions. Moving into the second page here, it goes to about $3 and then $3 plus. This card's starting to move in the market. This is the highest rarity. There is super rare is the highest rarity for this card. Not really a big deal. Commons and rares for the other ones. So there's that card for you guys. Mirage of Nightmare. This card is currently banned. I'm kind of mixed because, again, like, I really like original print first edition stuff. This is super awesome because, again, it has the magic card stamp there for being really, really old and ancient. But first editions here, so it's about $1. There's one first edition here for about $1 on the first page, and then there's a couple other ones that trail off in the end for $1 plus. So it's pretty much $1 plus for original prints. What I want to, honestly, in my opinion, I would get the secret rares though. Legendary Collection 3. Again, I keep on toggling back and forth between Pharaonic Guardian and these reprint collections. This is awesome. This, I keep on saying it. I say it in every video. You guys really, really, really need to check this set out. There's a lot of awesome stuff in this set. Really cheap, and they're $2. So across the board, they're pretty much $2. One-ofs here, they're $2, $2, and then it goes up to about $3 for the first edition secret rares of these cards. So again, I just really like zombies. Really awesome artwork. So that is another choice for you guys here. This card pretty much got rendered useless when we got Gold Sark, so it's kind of a sad day for that. Gravekeeper's Spy. No one cares about this common. We have so many juicy other prints like the DT rare and the secret rare. There's a Champions pack, which is ridiculous on table. Don't worry about that. The secret rare from Legendary Collection 4. Secret rare first edition is like, well, it's under $1. Under $1 for the secret rare first edition for the reprint from the Legendary Collection. Dual Terminal 6. More specifically, honestly, this is my favorite. The secret rare does look really awesome, but honestly, I'm a real big sucker for Dual Terminal, especially anything higher than commons, which is a rare, not a common, rare Dual Terminal. And there is, like, this card has been dwindling like crazy. I think I've said this on my other Market Watch videos, but this used to have like 10+ pages, like about a year and a half ago. There were so many of these cards, and now this card, I'm really surprised that it's even holding this cheap of a price point, a half a dollar for this card, near mint, when there's only 2 pages left. I'm telling you guys, you need to get this in like sets of 3s. You need to get this card. Gravekeepers is a fan favorite deck. This is an amazing card. This is a must of 3. Everyone runs a playset of these in their Gravekeepers deck. Really awesome deck to play. It's got new support of late, and it will definitely get new support in a later date in the game. It's just a really awesome card. So there's another card. Moving on here, I just noted this today. I didn't really think about it before, but this card is a pretty cool card to combo with Droll and Lockbird. You can kind of see all the trickster stuff here. You have Reincarnation. Another card that kind of does the same thing. You have to be a little bit more careful because you could potentially plus your opponent if he has a smaller hand is present card, so you can use this, of course, Recardination, and then Disturbance Strategy. So basically gives you more healthy alternatives to combo off with your Drill and Lockbird to basically just completely screw your opponent into having no hand. This card's pretty cool. This card would look awesome if it had like a rarity bump. Unfortunately, all the versions are common. It's just another Umi, which kind of started thinking about like water decks, how much I really want to like figure out a really cool water deck to play. Mostly because I think this card is really great. Just killer artwork, awesome effect. Probably kind of a little difficult to pull off, but there's in a later date I want to go over some water stuff that I've kind of been reviewing of late, but I just kind of wanted to showcase that really quick. This card is one of the highlights I have specifically for this video. Now, granted, it is really slow because you can only activate during your standby phase. It is a trap card, so obviously you have to set it and it has to survive one of your opponent's turn before you can break it off. But if you just pause the video and read this card, it's ridiculous. Once you pop it off, your opponent cannot normal summon, set, or special summon during their next turn. So technically it's a -1 because you're activating it, and then you got to pitch one. Again, depending on what kind of deck you're playing, you could plus when you pitch something to the graveyard. But I think that this right here is just ridiculous. You know, it is slow because it has to survive an opponent's turn, but it literally just like it shuts down your opponent's deck for a whole turn, just freezes their whole entire deck for a whole turn, which can be super blowout, especially this day and age. There's only 2 versions, both common. The Dark Revelations 1 and the Pharaonic Guardian. I would, of course, go for the first edition original print Pharaonic Guardian, which is about 27 cents, 30 cents, 3 of here. And then moving on, it gets into, you know, about a $50 or anything. So plenty from the market to pick from. 5+ pages. This card needs a rarity bump. This is, again, just another one of those commons I think is super powerful, super underrated. And mostly I just think probably most people play because don't play because it's slow, but if you can pull it off, if you really think about it, I think it's potentially, depending on what deck you're playing, it's worth the risk, because that effect, that follow-up effect of just freezing your opponent for a turn is just blowout. So that's definitely a special highlight that I have specifically for this video. Regret Break. This is technically a 2-for-1 because you're activating and you're pitching a card. Again, depending on what you're pitching, you could plus depending on what deck you're playing. There is a super rare that was from the Legendary Collections 3. Again, of course, infamous set. And these are super cheap. They're like well under $1 for the first editions. I think it's just cool how it's variable. I mean, it's slower because it's a trap card and it technically is an egg 2. But the variability of you being able to destroy a magic trap card or a monster card is pretty cool. And it's about a $50 for the first edition super rares from Legendary Collection Yugioh's World, which is pretty cool. Reasoning, this is yet another common. And we have the star foil, of course, but I mean that's kind of, I don't really consider that really a hollow foil. It's just a star foil. We have gold, which no one cares about. This card needs a secret rare reprint. Look at all these crappy common reprints that we have. This is such an amazing card. It is limited to 1 on the ban list because it is so good, and Konami cannot give us at least even a super rare for this card. It's pretty ridiculous. It's ancient as hell, and it still does not have a hollow foil print, which is really sad. Just a really great card. The commons are like 15 cents for first editions, and then playing the market, so not really a big deal because it's common across the board. But this one specifically is the original print, original ancient one, so it has the magic card stamp, so that's pretty cool to note. Konami, please give us a rarity bump on that card, a hollow foil bump. This card, so I kind of just think of Dino Rabbit era and kind of Vanilla's getting support and getting more like dinosaur support. This got a secret rare reprint in the Legendary Collections 3 or 4, I can't remember. I guess it was for the Joey's World. It's literally a $50 minus for the first edition secret rares. I think this is so cheap, and I love Dino Rabbits. I love max rarity Dino Rabbits, and back in the day, this was one of the cards that they used, as well as another vanilla 1900 beater, which I can't remember right now, but I think that's definitely something to consider. King Tiger Wangu, super awesome card. Unfortunately, this is the highest rarity here that we got. It's just a rare. Just a cool, healthy alternative for anti-meta players. I'm a big anti-meta advent. I love anti-meta stuff, and this is just kind of an interesting card to play. There used to be a first edition on the page. Someone must have bought it or something. But first editions are going for about 80 cents. This one's 65. So about dollar range for these as you move on to the market. Not too many. Couple pages down here. So this is just really awesome artwork and healthy alternative for anti-meta players. This card is pretty much rendered completely inferior now that we have Torrential Tribute at 3. Call of the Mummy. This comes super rare in one of the Legendary Collection sets as well. Just some more zombie support. Kind of slow. It's kind of more like a starter card than like a mid-game card. But, I mean, it's a quarter for the first edition super rares reprints from the Legendary Collection set. So that's something to think about for all you zombie players. Royal Tribute. This card is Gravekeeper's most powerful card, in my opinion. This is completely blowout. I'm pretty sure this is at 1 at the ban list because it's just such a blowout card. Again, like I said, Gravekeeper Spy. Gravekeepers is a really, really high loved deck, a player favorite deck. A lot of people really like this deck. It's not necessarily meta specific, but they have a lot of awesome cards. Necro Valley, they have really awesome field magic card. They have searchers. They have recycling, and this card is just super blowout. That's why it's limited to 1. More specifically, the ultra rare, again, going back to that infamous set, Legendary Collection 3. It's about $2 for this. This is the highest rarity, and it's about $2 for the first edition prints. There's 140 here, 140 here, 147, and moving on, it gets to about $2 range. So I would pick this up. This card, if this card gets unlocked, is currently at 1. And, you know, Gravekeepers haven't really done anything, even with the new support. I think they're going to get even more support in the past. And just in general, the artwork's super awesome. I love the Egyptian kind of style stuff. And just Gravekeepers, again, is a fan favorite. So $2 is a really fair price for their most busted Magic card. These cards, I like these cards a lot. Unfortunately, it would be really awesome to get a rarity bump on these. All 3 of these, like the Swarm cards, Swarm of Locusts, Swarm of Scars. I've always wanted to make like a flip/deck where you can only, you know, like pop your opponent's magics, pop their monsters, and, you know, draw cards with the camel one. I forget whatever the camel one is. It's a pretty cool. Unfortunately, these are all just, you know, common for now, so we'll just have to wait. They're like well under $1. They're super cheap, so if you want to get the, you know, near mint first editions, you can for well under $1. If you want to make a really cool creative flip deck, I would definitely want to do that eventually. Pyramid Turtle. This comes secret rare again. This is really slow. No one really uses these cards anymore, like the whole like Angel card and like Mystic Tornado. They're just too slow. The whole having to be destroyed by battle is kind of just too slow for this era in Yu-Gi-Oh! But there was a secret rare reprint, super rare, and then a secret rare, which is literally like a $50 to the first editions before. Again, obviously, I'm a really huge zombie player, so I'm really highlighting a lot of zombie stuff here. It's like $1 for the first edition. So anyway, there's a secret reprint for this as well. Dark Dust Spirit, I used to play this when Macrocosmos and Fisher was at 3. I would play like the whole DD deck with, like, you know, with Caius and I forget, DD Survivor, I think it was. And basically, you know, like the whole cycle, recycle factor, and then I also used 1 copies of these to basically nuke the field and remove everything, and it was pretty blowout because there was a lot of spammy decks back in the day. There still is, but this is the not this common, but there was a Hobby League 7 parallel ultra rare, which looks really, really nice. Again, you have to be really careful about these Hobby League stuff because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Upper Deck or some other company made them, and they made them super, super thick. So I'm sure it's fine in like locals and stuff. I played them fine in my locals in Texas, but you may, you know, if you get to the higher tier games, it might be an issue. But it's really cheap for the parallel ultra, which is really cool. We can get a lot of parallels in the TCG, so that's pretty cool. This is kind of an interesting burn card. It's a really old school card that I kind of forgot about. There was a little tiny rarity bump that came out, and again, the Legendary Collection 3 Yugi's World. The first edition near mints are about 15 cents, 19 cents. So yeah, about like a quarter minus. So really, really cheap. And I think there'd be some interesting burn decks that you could utilize this card. Pretty cool artwork too. Gravekeeper's Guard, there was a reprint in the Legendary Collection 3 or 4, I can't remember which one, ultra rare, just again, another one of the Gravekeeper's cards, I think one of their better choices. It has a built-in compulsory device in it, which is pretty cool. And 19 defense, not really too much of a big deal. Kind of approach, but too kind of slow. I think Grave Keepers have a more healthy alternatives, but then again, you know, you're kind of limited with what you have with Grave Keepers, even though it's a really big fan favorite. It's a really fun deck, and I personally really love it myself. Maybe a little biased because I'm spending a lot of video time on it, but this ultra rare here is about $1 minus for the first editions all across the board, so just wanted to show that really quick. This was that other card I was talking about when I was thinking about, oh, it's so cheap because it's a original but super rare and it's a kind of trap and, you know, chain burn decks. But honestly, I had more thought about it. You know, maybe because if you want just old school first edition cards, more collector's value, it's really cheap for the first editions. You can kind of go after it. But me personally, I was thinking of more like meta play. You might as well just play Royal Decree and just kind of stop everything immediately long term. This card's pretty cool, but it's really situational. This card, I used to play this card back in the day. It would have been awesome if it said, you know, with like the parentheses S, if it destroys magic trap cards, made it plural. Unfortunately, it specifically designates only one, so it's pretty much just for like Dust Tornado or like MST or things that really just designate one card for destruction over like Harpy's Feather Duster, Heavy Storm, or like Twin Twister, or Heavy Duster, the new card that came on Kono Duelist, I can't remember. But anyway, so yeah, this kind of got rendered inferior kind of because of that game mechanic, unfortunately, which is kind of sad. But I think that is pretty much, we're getting to the bare bones here of this set. I don't really remember if there's, this card, Jaws of the Dark Demise, is pretty cool if you kind of play a defensive deck where you can keep this for a turn or you can actually flip it. I know flip effects are super old school and they're not really probable anymore. But it's basically like has a built-in change of heart essentially. And then when you take the opponent, if you don't link it off or sync or summon XYZ or whatever you want to do with it, you can basically attack directly with it. It gets that boosted effect. So this is the highest rarity as a rare. I think again this card would look so cool as a secret rare. I love the artwork in this, the creepy eyes in the mouth and the whole monster teeth is pretty awesome. Plus it's a fiend water, which is pretty awesome. We don't really see a lot of water fiends, so that's pretty cool. This was the other card that I was talking about with the flip dot deck with the kind of recycling. This is the one that lets you draw cards, and you can flip it into defense position once per turn, which is pretty cool. There's just the common, so it's kind of interesting. It'd be nice to get a higher rarity in that card as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that was my review of Pharaonic Guardian. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you next time.